Exposed. Her billionaire husband called her ugly, but her amazing transformation shocked everyone. Lisa stood quietly by the window of her cozy boutique, watching the bustling suburban life outside. Moms pushed strollers while children laughed at the nearby park, embodying the American dream of happiness and connection. But inside a storm brewed. Just the night before, at a dinner party, Brad had once again belittled her. "You're lucky I even keep you around, ugly," he had said, chuckling as their friends laughed uncomfortably. The words sliced through her like a knife, leaving her heart heavy and her self-worth shattered. Lisa's life revolved around nurturing her 2 children and managing her boutique, a passion project that had blossomed from a dream. Yet, as the days ticked by, she felt more like a ghost of herself, a shadow consumed by self-doubt. Every jab from Brad chipped away at her confidence, leading her to question if her love was simply not enough for someone like him. To the local cafe, she put on her best smile for the neighborhood moms. They chatted about playdates, funded vacations, and the latest trends, their laughter ringing in the air. Lisa mirrored their happiness, yet inside her heart ached. Did they know the truth behind her painted smile? An unexpected moment of clarity hit her when she glanced at her reflection in a shop window, her eyes betraying her facade. "I can't do this anymore," she whispered to herself. With that, a fire ignited in her chest, spurring her into action. She enrolled in a fitness class and connected with her supportive group of friends. "You've got this, Lisa. You're beautiful just as you are," they motivated her, lifting her spirits higher every day as she began to shed both pounds and insecurities. Lisa felt the old version of herself lost and broken start to fade away. She mastered both workouts and self-love, her transformation visible to everyone around her. The whispers of admiration from her friends and neighbors wrapped around her like a warm blanket, fueling her confidence. Before we continue, I need to let you know about something important that's happening. YouTube has been making changes to the system, and many people are losing notifications from channels they follow. If you're enjoying the content, hit that bell and mark all notifications so you don't miss the next videos. And if you can drop a like, it really helps me with reach. Seriously, it makes a difference. Oh, let me know in the comments where you're watching from. I'm always curious to know who's on the other side of the screen. Now let's continue. But just as her newfound confidence bloomed, Brad returned from another lavish business trip, bewildered by her changes. He showered her with extravagant gifts, but behind them lurked old manipulations. "Why would you want to flaunt when we could be jetting off to Paris?" he questioned, scrutinizing her every move. That familiar power struggle returned, ugly and familiar, a reminder of the man who once called her ugly. The tension built until the community gala, a glitzy affair celebrating ambition and status. Dressed in a radiant gown, no longer hiding in the shadows, Lisa captivated the room. When she stepped onto stage, her heart raced. But this time it wasn't from insecurity. True beauty doesn't come from wealth or illusion, she declared, empowering every woman in the room. But just as she owned her moment, Brad hovered at the edge, a looming reminder of her past. Could she break free from the chains of his cruelty and finally define her worth? The air thickened with unanswered questions, leaving Lisa standing at the crossroads of love and liberation, her future hanging delicately in the balance. What was next for her? As the applause faded away, Lisa felt a rush of exhilaration mixed with anxiety. She shared her truth, her heart, and it had resonated. Yet Brad's glare remained piercing, a chill cutting through her warmth. He was a storm cloud on this sunlit night. After the gala, the drive home was silent. The air between them throbbed with tension. Lisa stared out the window, the world blurring past, each passing street lamp illuminating her doubts. What was Brad thinking? Did he feel threatened by the woman she had become? Do you really believe all that nonsense? Brad broke the silence, his voice tight. You think the world is going to change because you had a moment on stage? Her heart sank, but there was a flicker of steel in her spine. No, but I'm starting to change. And you need to understand that, she said, her voice unwavering. He chuckled, a harsh sound that grated against her resolve. Change? All I see is a woman trying to get attention. You're still my wife. Learn to act like it. As they pulled into their driveway, Lisa felt the weight of his words crash around her like crashing waves. The doubts threatened to drown her, but she clung to the warmth from the gala, the energy of those claps and cheers still resonating in her mind. That night sleep eluded her. The darkness of their marriage loomed over her, making her feel small and afraid. She spent hours turning things over in her mind, replaying the comments from their friends, the supportive looks, and the sense of belonging she had experienced. What if their words were a lifeline? What if they could pull her to shore? In the morning, she decided to take her transformation further. Lisa poured her energy into the boutique, reimagining its layout and breathlessly designing a new collection inspired by the courage she felt now. Each piece was created not just to sell, but to empower others, reminding them that beauty comes from within. Word spread quickly. Customers began to flood in, captivated by the bright colors and bold patterns that reflected Lisa's newfound attitude. The buzz around her shop grew, and with it, her confidence soared. One afternoon, while arranging a display, one of her friends from the community, Sarah, stopped by. "You look incredible, Lisa. Your spirit is shining through like never before," she exclaimed. "Thanks, Sarah. You know, I'm really starting to believe that I can be more than just Brad's wife. I want to inspire others to embrace who they really are." "Of course. You've got this," Sarah smiled, but Lisa could see the flicker of concern in her eyes. Later that evening, with the children nestled in bed, Lisa faced Brad. He was lounging on the couch, absorbed in his phone. "What's going on with your store?" "People are talking. Good things, mind you," he said, his tone flat, almost uninterested. "I'm working hard, Brad. I want it to shine just like I do now. Maybe you should come by more often? Meet some of the people who believe in me." He shot her a look, one she couldn't quite read. "This isn't some fairy tale, Lisa. Stay in your lane." With every word he said, she felt a fracture widen in their already strained relationship. That night was a pivotal moment. Could she maintain her transformation while still being who she used to be to him? Sitting alone in bed, surrounded by silence and shadows, Lisa began to realize that perhaps the most profound transformation wasn't her physical appearance or her boutique's success. It was the realization that she was worth more than his approval. Just as she resolved to forge her own path, her phone buzzed with a message from her friend Sarah. "Lisa, there's a workshop coming up on empowerment. You should host it at your store. Everyone needs to hear your story." Lisa's heart raced. Could this be the new beginning she had been searching for? Taking a deep breath, she began to type the words back to Sarah. "Yes, let us do it." With hope surging through her veins, she wondered, was this the push she needed to break free once and for all? How would Brad react when he found out she was stepping into her power? The stage was set, and her heart raced at the thought of what could await her. Would she finally embrace the woman she was meant to be? The next morning, Lisa woke up with a fire ignited in her heart. Today was different. Today she would dive headfirst into her new venture. The workshop that Sarah had proposed felt like a pivotal moment, a chance to share her story on a bigger scale. She envisioned a room filled with eager faces, women hungry to break free from their own constraints. Could her journey truly inspire them? As she brewed her coffee, her thoughts drifted to Brad. Would he be supportive? Or would his dismissive attitude cast another shadow over her ambitions? She shook her head, willing herself to focus on the positive. She had come too far to let his doubts discourage her. With her plan hatching in her mind, Lisa spent the morning transforming the boutique into a welcoming space for the workshop. She hung up bold banners that read "Embrace Your Power," and placed vibrant floral arrangements on each table. She loved seeing the way colors danced together, reflecting the new energy swirling within her. When she glanced at the clock, panic snagged her heart. She had work to do, and she was woefully unprepared. Phone calls and messages were flying in like confetti. Women from different backgrounds and experiences wanted to share their stories too. It was overwhelming, but in the best way possible. "Hey Lisa," Sarah called, bursting through the door, a whirlwind of excitement. "It's going to be amazing. Are you ready?" "I hope so." Lisa smiled, though the nerves quivered in her belly. "I just keep thinking, what if I mess it up?" "Trust yourself," Sarah countered. "Remember, it's about connection, not perfection. You're going to shine." Later that day, Lisa stood in front of the mirror, adjusting a necklace. She looked different, radiant, alive. The earrings she chose dangled like mini chandeliers, a reflection of the inner sparkle she was beginning to embrace. She was no longer just Brad's wife. She was Lisa, powerful and unapologetic, with her heart racing, She opened the boutique doors 2 hours before the workshop was set to start. As women began to trickle in, Lisa felt her pulse quicken. Some were familiar faces from the community. Others were new, arriving with curious eyes and cautious smiles. "Welcome, everyone. I'm so glad you're here," Lisa called, her voice shaking slightly but resolute. "Today isn't just about me, it's about all of us reclaiming our stories and stepping into our power." As she spoke, Lisa noticed the way the audience leaned in, their expressions shifting from skepticism to intrigue. She shared glimpses of her life, including the lows that had once defeated her, and the journey she had taken to find herself again. Each word was layered with emotion, a raw honesty that tapped into the vulnerabilities they all felt. Midway through her story, she noticed a woman in the back tugging nervously at her sleeves, a look of conflict playing across her face. It took Lisa back to her own moments of doubt. Was this woman here to find strength, or was she worried about her own truth? After the workshop, as women began to share their own stories, an unexpected energy filled the room, a mixture of empowerment and remembrance. Lisa facilitated the discussions, noticing how hands reached out to support each other, tears mixed with laughter, and brave hearts ventured into the light. But as the discussions deepened, Lisa felt a presence in the back of the room, lingering like a dark cloud. She looked up to see Brad standing in the doorway, arms crossed, eyes narrowed. The moment their gazes met, the room felt heavy with electricity. What was he doing here? Really? His voice cut through the laughter like a knife. Is this some sort of support group for your midlife crisis? The laughter died down, and every woman shifted their attention toward the two of them, uncertainty swirling in the air. Lisa's heart raced, not just from embarrassment but from a sudden surge of strength. This was her moment. "No, Brad. This is about finding our voice, our strength. Something you don't seem to understand." The tension between them was palpable. A silence fell over the crowd, eyes darting between Brad and Lisa, anticipation thick in the air. How would this confrontation shape not just her day, but her journey ahead? And would Lisa finally find the courage to stand up not only for herself, but for every woman who felt silenced? Lisa felt her breath hitch in her throat, the room filled with a mix of disbelief and curiosity. She could almost hear the women's hearts beating as one, each face reflecting varied emotions: support, fear, and intrigue. This was not just a moment for her. It felt like a catalyst for everyone present. Brad's scoff echoed in the tense air, challenging. "Come on, Lisa. You think you can change your life by talking to a bunch of strangers? What's next, a podcast?" The murmur among the women shifted. Lisa felt a swell of resistance rise within her. Did he really think that was all this was? "It's more than that. We're building a community here. It's about healing and honesty, something you clearly can't grasp." The words came out sharper than she intended, but they stung with truth. In that instant, she saw the surprise flicker in Brad's eyes. Maybe he never expected her to fight back. It wasn't just about defending her workshop anymore. It was about claiming her identity. The room remained still, the crowd watching with bated breath. Lisa took a step forward, determination coursing through her. "I've spent too long being afraid of your judgments. This community, this space, it's where we all learn to rise together." A woman in the front row stood up, her voice trembling but strong. "I came here battling my own demons. I thought I was alone, and yet here we are." A ripple of agreement spread through the crowd. The women began to share their stories, and for every tale of heartache, Lisa felt her own voice growing stronger. They talked about struggles with self-worth, about dreams being overshadowed, of being misunderstood. Yet, even as the warmth enveloped her, she could feel Brad's disbelief like a heavy weight pressing upon her shoulders. The way he stood there, arms crossed, was like a barrier trying to block her from true empowerment. Finally, as the last woman finished her heartfelt confession, a stillness returned. Lisa opened her mouth to speak again, but it was difficult. Her voice felt like a fragile thing, trembling on a ledge. But then she saw a reflection of possibility in the women's eyes. "Listen, this isn't just for me anymore. It's for all of us. If I can stand here today, face my fears, then you can too. We have to champion for ourselves, for our stories. Don't let anyone, not even those closest to you, silence your voice." As she delivered the words, an unexpected cheer erupted. Women were nodding, some tearing up, a collective strength radiating through the room. Lisa had ignited a fire. A shared resolve, and the back, Brad's expression flickered. His eyes bore into her with a mixture of concern and anger. This isn't over, Lisa. He spat, turning on his heel and storming out. The door slammed shut, reverberating through the joyous atmosphere. A rush of nervous energy filled the room after his departure. Women started chatting excitedly, pumping one another up. You did it. Sarah smiled widely at Lisa, eyes shimmering with pride. Did you see that power? One woman breathed, still shaking with emotion. Lisa felt it too. A surge of confidence she hadn't known was possible. But as the evening wore on and the celebration of newfound strength continued, a thought crept in, heavier than she anticipated. What would Brad do next? What paths could await her now that she had taken a stand? The weight of those questions settled onto her chest, stifling the joy of the moment. The realization of how high stakes were felt daunting. Would standing up for herself mean losing everything she'd built in her marriage? And what would it take to navigate the aftermath of this newfound courage? With each shared story, Lisa's heart fluttered with hope but quaked with uncertainty. The path ahead shrouded in shadows once more as she prepared to confront not only Brad but the future she was shaping for herself. Could she keep this momentum going? Or would fear pull her back down? The echo of his words still rang, a haunting reminder of the battle just beginning. Lisa felt the adrenaline finally start to fade, leaving a shaky aftershock deep in her bones. The earlier surge of courage now wove tightly with anxiety, each thread pulling her back to the stark reality of her home life. The watching women began to disperse, their excitement lingering like sparkling dust in the air. But Lisa remained rooted in place. Are you okay? Sarah came over, concern knitting her brow as she reached out to hold Lisa's hand. The warmth of her touch helped, but the question reminded her of the storm brewing outside this newfound camaraderie. I think so, Lisa said, but the tremor in her voice gave her away. I didn't expect I know. Sarah interrupted, her excitement bubbling over. You were incredible. You stood up to him. The praise felt like honey on her tongue, but Lisa couldn't fully savor it. But at what cost? She murmured, looking away. Worry pooled in her stomach, forming chains that felt heavy. Maybe it's time to let go of that fear. Look what you created here. Sarah gestured at the women, now more animated than ever, exchanging numbers and planning meetups. This is just the beginning, Lisa. You have a gift. Lisa's heart swelled at the thought. She had started envisioning a space where voices could spill out freely, drowning in empathy and understanding, yet she was still tethered to the uncertainty that was Brad. Would he let her live this truth? I need to tell him about tonight, she said quietly, feeling the weight settle on her shoulders again. He deserves to know. Maybe if I explain. Sarah shook her head, cutting her off gently. You don't owe him any explanation, Lisa. Remember that. This is your journey, not his. But his face flashed in her mind, creating a tug-of-war between love and self-preservation. She had poured so much of herself into their marriage, and now, standing on the edge of liberation, the thought of losing him felt like jumping into an abyss. As if reading her thoughts, Sarah slipped her arm around Lisa's shoulders. You're stronger than you think. Look at how far you've come. If Brad can't support you, maybe it's time to reassess what you have. Those words hung in the air, heavy yet strangely uplifting. Just then, a loud crash echoed from the front of the venue, the sound of chairs toppling. The laughter and excitement came to an abrupt halt. Lisa's heart skipped as she turned, dread pooling at the base of her throat. Stay here, Sarah urged as she moved toward the noise, revealing a figure standing at the entrance, silhouetted against the light. Brad's silhouette loomed, his expression dark, eyes glinting with something Lisa couldn't decipher. You think this is over? You think I'm just going to stand by and let you embarrass me like that? His voice was low and menacing, slicing through the warmth of the room like a knife. Lisa's breath caught, and for a second, the warmth of community faded into a distant memory. She could feel the support she'd built starting to cave under the weight of her fears. Brad, she started, her pulse racing, each word strangled by trepidation. Didn't he mean to what? He interrupted, stepping inside with a fierce energy. Do you have any idea how humiliating it was to see you flaunting your independence in front of strangers? His voice cracked with rage. Lisa's emotions spiraled, the fear was suffocating. But deep inside, something flickered, a determination she had tapped into earlier that day. She straightened, swallowing down the panic rising in her throat. Stand by me or not, Brad. I deserve to be heard. I won't let you dictate my worth anymore. The room buzzed, the women's eyes darting between them, holding their breath. Brad clenched his jaw, something dark brewing in his gaze. We'll see about that, he growled, shifting on his feet, the tension thick and electric. Lisa's heart raced at the finality in his tone. What did he mean? As she rallied herself for the confrontation, doubt gnawed at her resolve. Was she ready for the fight ahead? And just like that, the question struck her with alarming clarity. Could she survive the storm he was about to unleash? As silence enveloped them, Lisa took a deep breath, ready to face the tempest. The reckoning was here, and she would not back down. The air felt charged, as if all the women in the room were holding their collective breath, willing Lisa to stand her ground. She could feel the pressure of their expectations, as if a spotlight had been turned on her, illuminating her doubts and fears. Do you really think you can just walk away from this? From me? Brad's voice thundered, each word echoing in the stillness. There was a desperation behind his anger, a need to reclaim control over the situation. Yet for Lisa, the storm within her had begun to shift. I've been walking on eggshells for far too long, she replied, her voice steady, surprise flickering even in her own mind at the strength behind it. I am not ashamed of who I am or of what I want. His face contorted, a mixture of disbelief and rage. You think you can just flaunt this rebellion and I'm supposed to just accept it? Lisa took a half step forward, the distance between them tinged with tension. In her mind she replayed the moments of shame, the whispered insults, and the weight of his disapproval. You don't get to dictate my life anymore, Brad. It's my turn to speak. As she said this, Sarah moved closer, a protective figure beside Lisa. The other women began to shift, rallying behind her. Their silent encouragement sparked a warmth in Lisa's chest. She wasn't just fighting for herself now. She was standing for every woman who felt trapped. Maybe you should consider what you've lost, Brad, Sarah interjected softly but firmly. This isn't about embarrassment. This is about Lisa finding herself finally. Brad's eyes narrowed, a flicker of doubt flashing across his face. But he quickly masked it with a sneer. You all think you're so clever. You're playing with fire, maybe it's time to get burned. Then Lisa countered, her heart pounding but her resolve unyielding. I'm ready for it, Brad. I won't hide anymore. At that moment something shifted in the air. The women began to whisper among themselves, affirming Lisa's bravery, their murmurs creating a gentle wave of support that filled the room. Fear tempered with sisterhood welled within her. Brad's bravado faltered for a brief second, and Lisa saw a flicker of vulnerability in his eyes, a crack in the armor he had built around himself. You could break us both, he warned, but the threat felt hollow, like a whisper lost in the wind. No, Brad, she replied, her voice calm and steady. I'm choosing to build instead, even if you choose to tear down. He opened his mouth, but it was as though words suddenly failed him. The weight of her declaration hung thick, filling the air with an energy that felt almost palpable. The room vibrated with tension as Lisa stood grounded in her truth, each heartbeat syncing with the building rhythm of potential. I'll leave if I have to, he finally said, his tone wavering. You'll see how reckless this is. You'll regret your choices. Maybe you'll be surprised, she said, a spark of defiance igniting within her. At that, he turned on his heel, the sound of his footsteps echoing down the hall as he left behind a silence that felt like a deep breath finally released. The moment didn't sink in immediately. Lisa stood still, her heart racing, but she could sense that the air was different now, infused with newfound hope. She felt the eyes of her friends on her, some shimmering with tears, others filled with fierce pride. Lisa, that was incredible, Sarah exclaimed, pulling her into a tight embrace, and the warmth of friendship enveloped her like a soft blanket. But as relief washed over her, a nagging thought clawed its way back into her mind. What did Brad mean when he said she would regret this? Had she truly stepped out of one storm only to enter another? With her heart still racing, she scanned the room. The energy had shifted to a hopeful buzz, but uncertainty loomed ahead. What was her next step now that she had stepped into her power? And as she stood in that moment, surrounded by possible futures. One question lingered in the air, echoing in her heart. Could she truly embrace this new reality? Or was the journey just beginning? The soft chatter of the women enveloped Lisa, each whisper a balm for the raw edges of her emotions. They were swelling with pride, their validation like a salve on an old wound. Yet her heart thrummed with worry. Brad's words played on a loop in her head, each echo a reminder of the weight she had lifted only to feel another shift in the atmosphere. "Hey," Sarah nudged her gently, interrupting her thoughts. "Are you okay?" Lisa smiled, but it felt shaky. "I don't know. I guess I want to be happy, you know? But what if I can't?" "Lisa, look at you." Sarah gestured broadly, sweeping her hand toward the group of women who were now circling around them, faces beaming with admiration. "You just stood up to him. You found your voice. You're already on your way." The warmth from her friends was infectious, yet an icy whisper of doubt clung to her heart. What if Brad was right? What if the courage she felt now was just a fleeting spark that would quickly dim? She wrapped her arms around herself, the compressive action both a shield against the world and a reminder of the isolation she felt during all those years with Brad. As the minutes passed, laughter and chatter gradually filled the air, drawing Lisa back into the moment. Joy bubbled among her friends like fizz in a shaken soda, and she found solace in their stories of triumph and struggle. One by one they shared their own battles, their own journeys, moments of heartache that mirrored her own but also underscored the power of resilience. "Remember when I left Tom?" Ella chimed in. "I thought I'd never make it on my own. But now? I can't believe I stayed so long in that mess." The room erupted in support, voices overlapping in laughter and shared experience. Lisa's heart swelled as she listened. She was enveloped in a web of solidarity that shimmered with a promise that they would face the future together. As the clock ticked on, Lisa felt her emotions shifting. Each story pulled more slack from her doubts, stitching together a stronger fabric of spirit. The creeping anxiety gave way to a grand vision, one where she could truly embrace herself outside the confines of Brad's influence. "Let us do something bold," Sarah suggested, a wicked grin spreading across her face. "Let us plan a girls' trip. Just the five of us. Somewhere we can celebrate new beginnings." Cheers erupted, and in that moment, the thrill of anticipation washed over Lisa. "Yes, let us do it. Somewhere we can just be us." But as laughter filled the air and plans were tossed around like confetti, a shadow lingered in Lisa's thoughts, stubbornly refusing to be ignored. Brad had said she would regret her choices. What if he attempted to claw his way back in? What if he unleashed his fury once more? Lisa studied the faces of her friends and felt a pang of gratitude. With them around her, perhaps she could mount whatever challenge may come. But her resolve solidified at what lay ahead. She refused to be tied to anyone who would stifle her glow. "Tonight we celebrate," Sarah urged, raising her glass, and the group followed suit. "To new beginnings, to friendship, and to Lisa." Cheers erupted again, mixing with a potent blend of laughter and hope. But just as they began to toast, a message pinged on Lisa's phone. She hesitated just for a moment, fingers trembling as she glanced down. It was from Brad. "Where do you think you're going without me?" The air shifted once more, the laughter dying abruptly as the weight of his message settled heavily on her shoulders. Suddenly, Lisa felt the storm coming back, and she knew she had a battle ahead. Would she let it shatter their excitement, or could she rise above once more? As she stared at the screen, the emotional tide rose. Was her new future starting to fray at the edges before it had even begun? The phone buzzed again, breaking the silence. The laughter and chatter around Lisa faded into a distant hum. She stared at the screen, her breath hitching. The knot in her stomach twisted tighter, threatening to pull her under. "Lisa!" Sarah's voice cut through the haze. The concern etched on her friend's face mirrored the uncertainty churning within. "What did he say?" "Just some stupid message," Lisa replied, her voice shaky. She forced a smile, but it felt more like a mask than a reflection of how she truly felt. "I mean, he's always trying to pull me back in." The group fell quiet. Lisa could feel the weight of their eyes on her, a mixture of sympathy and unwavering support. This was her moment to either crumble or stand her ground. She took a deep breath, shoving away the rising dread. "Can you believe he actually texted me after everything?" Lisa chuckled, though it sounded hollow. "As if he thinks I'd just drop everything and run back." "What a jerk!" Ella exclaimed, her voice rising with indignation. "You're so much better off without him." "Exactly," Sarah chimed in, determination radiating in her gaze. "You have us, Lisa. We won't let him drag you down." Lisa's heart warmed at their fierce loyalty, but doubt still lingered. The shadows Brad cast over her life had been long and heavy, and she felt vulnerable under the scrutiny of those who knew her struggles. "Let us not let him spoil our night," she said, trying to shift the energy. "How about we get back to planning our trip?" Cheers erupted again, but Lisa could still feel Brad's presence like an unwanted ghost. Each laugh felt bittersweet as she clamped down on the swelling insecurity, pushing herself to adopt a more carefree demeanor as they huddled in a circle, brainstorming potential destinations. A plan emerged to head to the beach. "I want to feel the sun, the sand, and freedom," Lisa declared, the word hanging in the air like a shimmering dream. "Freedom," Sarah echoed, raising her glass once more. "To wind in our hair, laughter, and to Lisa finding her true self." A title nested deep inside Lisa began to unravel. Each moment of laughter with her friends was like sunlight pushing through the cracks of her resilience. With every shared anecdote, her shrouded spirit lifted a little higher. Later in the evening, after their plans began to solidify, Lisa found herself excusing herself to the restroom. The moment she closed the door behind her, she leaned against the cool tile wall, breathing deeply. She didn't recognize the reflection in the mirror. Her eyes sparkled, but deep inside, uncertainty flickered as she splashed cold water on her face. Her phone buzzed again. This time, curiosity got the better of her. She picked it up, half expecting another passive-aggressive jab from Brad. Instead, it was a notification that rattled her even more. A news alert flashed across the screen. "Local woman who left abusive partner to inspire others. Meet Lisa Cathcart." Her heart raced as she read through the article, exposing intimate details of her journey. It wasn't just about a woman breaking free. It was about her transformation, her strength in leaving Brad behind. Friends and family were quoted, speaking with admiration of her bravery. A flood of emotions surged. Pride, vulnerability, anger, but mostly confusion. She hadn't asked for this spotlight. Was she really ready for the world to see her struggle so openly? The pounding of her heart drowned out the sounds from the party. What did this mean for her? Would she be able to handle the attention, and would Brad dare to fight back, now that he was drawn into this narrative? Swallowing hard, Lisa felt the tug of her new reality. Perhaps she'd never fully escape the shadow of her past, but she could choose how to keep stepping forward. As she returned to her friends, she felt the weight of their shared strength. Yet, deep within, a new fear whispered. Would this newfound recognition inspire or consume her? This journey was only beginning, and she wasn't sure yet what was waiting just around the corner. But one thing was clear. She wouldn't let Brad dictate her life anymore. As she joined her friends, a message came through, this one from a number she didn't recognize. She hesitated, curiosity peaking. What if it was someone from her past looking to connect? Or worse, a warning. With a shaky breath, she swiped to open it. "Lisa, I know the truth about your life. We need to talk." Her heart dropped. What now? What truth were they talking about? The laughter and clinking of glasses faded into the background as Lisa stared at her phone in disbelief. Her heart pounded in her chest. "I know the truth about your life. We need to talk." What could this person possibly mean? A chill crept up her spine, her pulse quickening. "Lisa." Sarah's voice broke through her fog of unease. She glanced up to see her friend's concerned expression. Lisa tucked the phone into her pocket, forcing her lips into a tight smile. "Everything okay?" Ella asked, her brow furrowed. "Yeah, just I don't know. I'll be fine. Just a weird message," Lisa replied, trying to brush it off. But inside, fear nestled in the pit of her stomach. She returned to the group, their buoyant energy wrapping around her like a safety net. Their chatter about the upcoming beach trip created a bubble of excitement that she desperately clung to. "Imagine the sunrises," Sarah gushed. "We can have coffee on the sand. I've heard it's magic when the sun creeps up, right? And we'll play frisbee," Ella added, eyes sparkling with enthusiasm. "Maybe even take a surfing lesson." Lisa forced out a laugh, yet the thought of hitting the waves set her nerves on fire. Just moments ago, she had felt unfathomably brave, but now, facing the unknown felt like standing on the edge of a cliff. The group continued their plans, oblivious to the storm brewing in her mind. Each laugh tugged at her heart, warming her from the inside. But recurring visions of Brad loomed like dark clouds, smothering her joy. The fantastic oceanic escape suddenly felt miles away. The way their smiles lit up the room reminded her of the people in her life that stood beside her, but the question lingered. Was she really cut out for this newfound recognition, for embracing life without the weight of the past? When they finally agreed on a departure date, the celebratory cheers rang out like a sweet melody, but Lisa felt distant, an instrument out of tune. How could she embark on a journey of self-discovery, when a stranger claimed to hold a slice of her past? Let us toast to freedom. Sarah raised her glass. Freedom echoed through the air, a chorus of hope and support. Lisa lifted her glass, knowing she couldn't escape the prickling worries but hoping they might ease, even just for that night later. As the last of the guests filtered out and her friends settled into chat, Lisa found herself drawn back to the message. She couldn't shake the feeling that whoever it was might know something that could change everything. Hey guys, do you mind if I step out for a bit? She asked. Of course, Sarah replied. We'll just clean up in here. You okay? Just needing air. Stepping outside, she leaned against the porch railing, gazing into the night sky. Stars twinkled down at her, so distant yet so bright. With a trembling hand, she pulled the phone from her pocket, hesitating before tapping a reply. Who is this? What do you want to talk about? Swallowing hard, Lisa felt a mix of apprehension and defiance. Ignoring the growing knot in her stomach, she reminded herself she didn't have to let fear dictate her actions. She would face whatever came next. The screen lit up with a reply almost instantly. Meet me tomorrow at Creekside Cafe. You'll want to hear what I have to say. It's about Brad. Her breath caught, and all her defenses flew up. The thread binding her past to her present was taut, and she could even feel the tremors of fate lurking just around the corner. What did this stranger know? With a resolve she hadn't felt in ages, Lisa responded. I'll be there. Tomorrow loomed large, a threshold she was about to cross. Would it be light or dark on the other side? One more step towards revealing the truth or plunging deeper into her fears. As she turned away from the night hotel lights flickering in the distance, a thought crossed her mind. Was she prepared for the truth? And standing there, she realized that freedom might come with a price. But what if that price was exactly what she needed to break free? The next morning, Lisa woke in a flurry of emotions. The sun streamed through her curtains, yet all she felt was a heavy weight on her chest. Today was the day she would meet the stranger with information about Brad. As she sat on the edge of her bed, staring at her reflection in the mirror, a wave of doubt crashed over her. Who could this person be? What could they possibly know? Just as quickly as the fear surged, a flicker of determination ignited within her. This was about more than just Brad, it was about reclaiming her life. She slipped on a bright yellow dress, a color that represented new beginnings. With each movement, she whispered affirmations to herself, anchoring the strength she discovered at the workshop, a strength she refused to let go of. Arriving at the Creekside Cafe, she felt a mix of nervous energy and anticipation. The quaint cafe was buzzing with laughter and the aroma of freshly brewed coffee. As she sat at a table near the window, her heart raced. She scanned the room, hoping to catch a glimpse of the person who held the key to her past. Minutes felt like hours until a figure approached. A woman in her late 30s with warm eyes and an inviting smile. Are you Lisa? The woman asked, her voice soothing. Lisa nodded, noticing how the woman exuded an air of familiarity, as if they had known each other for years. I'm Ava. Thank you for meeting me. As they settled into their conversation, Ava's demeanor shifted. I know it's tough, but what I'm about to tell you might change everything. Lisa felt her heart hammering in her chest. I used to work with Brad. We were close and I recently learned things about him that you deserve to know. Ava leaned in closer, the gravity of her words weighing heavily between them. I discovered he's been manipulating you for years. I can't stand idly by when someone is hurting someone else for their own gain. Lisa's breath caught in her throat. What do you mean? Brad has kept a side of his life hidden from you. He's been involved in risky business ventures, things that could put you and your children in danger if they were ever revealed. You need to be cautious. A rush of emotions flooded Lisa. Disbelief, anger, fear, and a strange sense of relief. All the doubts she carried began to lift, replaced with the truth she was ready to confront. "Thank you, Ava," she whispered, tears welling in her eyes. "I had no idea." As they spoke further, pieces of Lisa's life began to click into place. The feeling that Brad had always tried to hold her back, to keep her in the shadows, now made sense. Each moment felt like a step further away from the man who called her ugly. "Lisa," Ava said softly, "you're stronger than you think. This is your chance. Use what you now know to take control of your life." With that, Lisa felt an electric surge of empowerment coursing through her veins. They finished their conversation, and before she left, Ava placed her hand on Lisa's. "Promise me you won't let his manipulation trap you anymore." "Promise," Lisa affirmed, a fire igniting deep within her heart. As she drove home, Lisa felt lighter. What had once loomed over her like an impending disaster now transformed into an opportunity for liberation. She envisioned a life where she could create her own path, bringing light to her cherished boutique, and igniting a powerful community beyond herself. Later that evening, gathered with her friends after a whirlwind of emotions, she shared what Ava had revealed to her. "Brad can no longer dictate my worth," Lisa announced, her voice steady and strong. "I see the strings he tried so hard to pull, and I've cut them." Her friends erupted into cheers, their faces illuminated by unwavering support. "What's next for you?" Sarah asked, her eyes sparkling with excitement. "I'm going to confront him," Lisa declared, her heart steady. "I'm going to tell him that I'm done living in his shadow. I deserve so much more than the way he has treated me." The air filled with affirmation as her friends rallied around her. This was more than just a moment of reclamation. This was a sisterhood, an unbreakable bond that fueled her spirit. Days turned into weeks, and slowly but surely, Lisa transformed not just her life but her boutique's ambience as well. Women flocked to her shop for empowerment workshops. They shared their stories, and in doing so, Lisa's journey resonated with many who had faced similar struggles. Finally, the moment came. Lisa stood at her boutique door, heart racing, ready to confront Brad. She knew it was time to leave the illusion behind and walk into the light of her reality. "Brad," she called, forcefully opening the door as he approached, his expression unreadable. "We need to talk." He glanced at her, a mixture of anger and confusion etching his features. But this time there was no fear in Lisa's heart, only strength. The storm was no longer lurking on the horizon. It was within her now. "I'm not afraid of you anymore," she proclaimed. And with that declaration, she turned the key to her future, as bright as the sunlight flooding into her boutique. This was the moment Lisa stepped fully into her power, ready to embrace the life ahead, free from the shadows of her past. As she walked into the warmth of her radiant future, she felt the support of her friends surrounding her. The journey had only just begun, but there was no turning back. There was only forward toward the light. Now you need to subscribe to our channel immediately to not miss the next exclusive stories. Leave a like now to help our community grow and feed the algorithm. Comment your reactions and feelings about this powerful ending. Share your own stories with us. Share instantly this video with at least 5 friends who need to see this incredible transformation and empowerment. This is the moment to show your support for our vibrant community. Don't wait not even one more second to share your thoughts and your support. Let us stand together.